What's up, everyone? This is Harold Sullivan, the Sullivan Project podcast, and I'm here with.
Chris Stern,
What's up, Chris?
what's up?
Not much. I actually heard a trailer for Boogeyman the other day. Have you checked that out yet?
Yeah,
Another Boogeyman. Let me see here. Hey Google, what time is it? So I know here. It's 6:14 p.m. 14. Okay, 24. So we're gonna go. All right. All right. Yeah. There's Well, in case anybody hasn't tuned in before, and this is going to be actually episode 50. I've been blind when this airs, probably about 2 years. So in June, it's going to be about 2 years. Uh, but yeah, the Boogeyman. So what other book? There was one in the 70s or 80s, right?
yeah.
Like it was a killer, just a regular guy, like a regular killer. They called the Boogeyman. Because I remember that one. And then that one that came out, Sam Raimi produced. Uh, there was two of them, right? It was like in the 90s or early 2000s. With the
Yeah.
with the closet and the little boy with the black hair. Remember he grew up. He's all that was pretty good. But was there? Do you remember any other Boogeyman or just those couple?
I think it was just those couple, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you would think because that name, there's so many things called Boogeyman, and it's spelled different ways too. Like sometimes there's one O, sometimes there's two. It's like Boogeyman. And then of course, they call Michael Myers the Boogeyman, and most of the other guys, slashers, they call Boogeyman too. But I don't know what the new one is. Did you see the trailer? Is it like, does it look like
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
is it like a supernatural type, or does it look like a regular killer?
Supernatural type, I think.
Okay, yeah, because the original one was just like a regular killer, right? And the boy saw his mother killed or something. Spoil.
Something like that.
And then he grew up. He ended up being the killer years later. It wasn't bad though, but it wasn't what I expected at all. I thought it would be more of a supernatural thing. And here, yeah, it was just a slasher, 70s, 80s, 70s or 80s type. Uh, Something like, do you ever hear of the town that dreaded sundown?
Yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah, and the remake. Yeah,
Was it any good, the first one?
it's okay.
That guy had a
Yeah,
sack. He had a sack on his head, like Jason, right?
yeah,
Yeah, because that's where they
yeah.
said they got the idea for Jason's Mask in Part 2, because there was a killer actually going around at that time, and they never caught the guy, right? They never figured out who did that.
No, they never did.
And that town became famous for that. But he shot people and stuff. It wasn't like again, mostly slasher movies. That's not what people did. They didn't set them up. They didn't kill people, and set them up on these different ways. That guy just shot people and maybe stabbed people. But it wasn't like in Friday the 13th where somebody's arms and their heads coming off or machetes are going through people. You know, uh, the true stories that stuff's based off of. Even like Friday the 13th, right? Or not Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street is supposedly based off of uh, some kids were falling asleep, right? Or some young adults. And Wes Craven saw these in newspaper articles. And it just, kids were just not waking up. They were dying in their sleep. And he came up with the idea something was killing them, something was getting to them. You know, in different cultures they have that kind of stuff. Uh, when they go to sleep. And there's stuff called sleep paralysis, and there's other different things. I've even dealt with that before because I have sleep apnea. And sleep paralysis is like you wake up, but you feel like something's holding you there. You know what I mean? Or you can't move. You feel like something else is there, but it's just because your mind wakes up first. So,
Yeah,
or your body wakes up and your mind's still asleep. Sometimes that can happen, or they see something in there, like something in the room with them, and that's where Wes Craven came up with that idea. And plus he had like a bully in school named Freddie, right? and a couple other things. There was an old guy, like an old bum in his town. Do you remember that story? You ever heard that? And one night, Wes Craven, when he was a kid, was looking out the window and saw the old guy, and then the guy looked back up at him at that same moment, and that's where he said he'd never forget that, and that was kind of where he had to look for Freddy, where he had the hat and the coat, you know. And it's neat how they come up with these ideas for stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I could have met him, but I didn't get to meet him. Wes Craven, you know what I mean? I think he's passed away actually.
Yeah, he's gone. He's been gone. Yeah.
A few years now, Jesus. When did I say?
Been gone for what? 2 years now?
Is that how long it's been? Jesus. Betsy
Two, 3 years, maybe longer. I don't know.
Betsy Palmer been a few more than that. I didn't meet her. When did I say we started? At 6:14, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, yeah. So the Boogeyman, yeah, that's really it. I checked out on demand. There's nothing. There's no good horror. There's nothing. All the Final Destinations are on right now.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. I have all of them.
Those were pretty neat, though. I like how original they were with that plan and stuff, and they try, but no matter what, they're still going to get it in the end. You know what I mean? But it's neat how they put together them little clues and almost make it like death is a thing. You know? It's like, okay, if you figure this out, then you can avoid it for a moment. But it's just like time travel, which I'm going to talk about in one of the other episodes, and I mentioned before. You know what I mean? No matter what in the time movie, something else you can't change it, or something else worse happens. You know. So when you mess with things like in Final Destination, they still get it. But it's neat how they come up with different things, and it's
how the accidents happen and whatnot.
oh yeah, man. I was coming up with a few because that was a neat story that I thought, man, if I ever wrote something, that would be cool to write fan fiction. But it's just you have to go into places when you write. Like when I used to write Friday the 13th stuff, and I had to sit there and visually try to come up with a way to kill people. And it's like, you have to go to places and you have to be a character. You know, you have to write the character, what they would think and say. And Final Destination. One time I was actually on the bus, right? And the bus driver was chewing on a cough drop or sucking on it, and I was like, whoa. I had a Final destination moment. I was like, what if that happened to that bus driver? He chokes on that, right?
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the bus I was driving, like I was riding the bus, and I had that moment. Like, I thought of that. I was like, this was years ago before I lost my sight. I was like, what if this bus driver chokes on this cough drop, and then we get in an accident? Everybody on this bus is killed. I'm on the bus. Like, I actually thought of that, you know. I was like, oh no. What if that happens? You know what I mean? Because of their movies, but I was like, that's because there are so many ways that something could happen, and you wouldn't know it happened like that because you wouldn't see it. You know, like in the movie, how they have all the little things that lead up to it. You would just be like, oh, there's an accident, bus accident on a, but you wouldn't know that the bus driver chokes on the cough drop first, and then this happens, and that happens. You know what I mean? So that's neat how they did. Like they had the running water goes down and touches this, and or that one where that gymnast girl flips and breaks in half. That's pretty disgusting in that one.
Yeah, I remember that.
But the screw's coming out slowly, you know, a little bit, a little bit, little. Then the water's dripping, and it's just all these things are about to go, and then which one's going to happen, and then the thing. Ugh. Did you know in that one? Spoiler though for anybody. Was that the last Final Destination? Did you know in that one that it was a prequel to the other ones?
No, I didn't.
Till the very end? You knew at the end though, right?
Yeah, at the end. At the end of it, you do find out.
When they get on the airplane.
Yeah.
And the other guy's
on the
there.
airplane.
And the other guy's there from the first one. It's like, what the... And here it's the whole thing coming back. Yeah, I didn't catch it either. It was like, you know, not Signs, but The Sixth Sense. It's one of the movies. But yeah, well, if they tell you the time, right, in the movie, they tell you the year and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's like right in your face, kind of. But I get we just didn't we just didn't get it. Like all that stuff referenced that year and that time though. You had that guy who was talking. He was like the "Can you hear me now?" guy with the glasses. Can you hear me now? Then you have people going in for acupuncture, laser surgery, and these were all things that were around that time. So it was neat how they. It's like, okay, what else are they going to do? Here they do a prequel and they take it back. They're supposed to be doing part six soon here, though. They've been saying that for years on online. So I like that though. But yeah, you have to really come up with stuff. You know what I mean? And that's pretty sick. And they show it too. So and it just makes you think. And I like Tony Todd though. You know what I mean? Oh, and speaking
Yeah.
of that though, have you seen The Last Candyman yet?
No.
No, because I did, and I liked. Well, I listened to it. I couldn't see it because I'm blind, but I just don't know if Tony Todd was in it or not. Yeah, because I don't even know if it was him. I couldn't hear him. I don't know. I'm wondering if they just did. I don't want to ruin the story for you by telling you the story, but I'm wondering if they just did it differently and then just put somebody else in it, or if they showed him and he just didn't really talk much. But the new Candyman, the one that came out just a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, it wasn't bad. I liked it from what I could hear of it. But if anybody knows, yeah, write into the show or give us a call here. The Sullivan Project podcast. Harold Sullivan 78 on TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78 on YouTube, and Harold Sullivan period 35 on Facebook. Or you can call in if you want to talk to any of us, or leave us a message, or if you want to be on the show. 724-513-1472. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 6:26 p.m.
12. Okay. I got the Google, yeah. Oh, I got a recorder too, so I can record my Scooby Doo, and I can in a couple days I'm gonna get, and I can start playing my intro again. So that'll work for that, you know, because I got that and that guy. Plus, I paid him some money. Yeah, all them cameos and all that stuff aren't free. People think I got the celebrities right and doing. If you wanna, if you guys want to, if y'all want to check that out too, I got celebrities on the Sullivan Project podcast, so on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. But yeah, they're not free. You know, people were always Greg. My friend Greg thought that I knew these people like Tommy Chong and some wrestlers and some horror people. I was like, no, some people I had met in conventions, but most of them D Walls. No, I don't meet her. But
You didn't meet her?
she's affordable though. No, but I got a cameo from her on it. And I got her on one of the podcasts. So same with the Crypt Keeper guy and some of the wrestlers. You know, I'd like to have met them, but it's it's actually probably cheaper to do that than it would be now because the prices. I mean, geez, wait, they were $25 an autograph when I was going to conventions, and that was 20 years ago. So I know they're at least $50. Stanley was like 90 or $80 last time he was around here, and he's passed away. God rest his soul. They robbed Stanley blind. You know that?
All that money for an autograph.
Yeah. Well, there's certain people I'd pay. I mean, if I had the money, you know. Not now though, because I learned that them people were just like everybody else, and they signed a piece, just a piece of paper when they got it, you know. But when I was doing the collecting and then I realized, or I was like, okay, this is cool. This is a moment. Let me get their autograph. I gotta pay for it. But now I was like, hey, how about someone pay me for my autograph? What's the difference, right? They're not. They're just people just like us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's about it.
So, and they're just like people. They're just people. Oh, let me talk about. I don't know if I told you before about this. I want to mention it. Even though I lost my sight, I've been starting to see things like colors and things. It's kind of neat. But I have this thing. It's like a lightning bug. I call it. It's just like a little flash of light. Sometimes I'll just see go by. So I call it a lightning bug. You know, it's just like a little dot of light, and I'll look and I'll just see like this. And if you think about lightning bugs, here's something neat. You know, you remember lightning bugs like we were kids or whatever? You catch them in a jar and they light up. Remember that?
Yeah.
You ever do that?
Oh yeah, I did that.
Kids probably don't do it now, and they actually die after a couple of days. See, I just saw the flash of light just now when I said it. But you ever notice how they light up, right? But then if you put them in a jar, they start lightening up at the same time, like lighting up, like the same pattern. They blink. Isn't that weird? It's something to do with the way they're like psychic. There's animals like that too, but yeah, lightning bugs blink, and sometimes you'll go out and there'll be a whole night they'll be everywhere blinking, but they randomly blink. But if you put two of them or a bunch of them together in one jar, they start blinking at the same time. Whatever pattern one is doing, the other ones will do the same pattern. If anybody can
Yeah.
explain that, let us know because, and there's other animals like animals. Did you ever wonder how if you have a dog, right, or a cat? Usually dogs. The dog will be at the door before you get home. The dog knows you're coming. How does the dog know? Right? Animals know stuff. They don't talk like us, but they know. This is neat. And same with amphibians and stuff. Frogs, like they make some kind of they have something. Bats have radar, so they communicate with each other. And there's like animals that change color so they can blend in, right? You know about chameleons and that. Even butterflies, they have certain colors because the color uh, is the color of a poisonous flower or something, and so another animal won't eat the fly, won't eat the butterfly because of that. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
So it's just things that I'm thinking of. But yeah, we can talk and stuff, and we have all these ways to communicate. But animals actually can do all that and do things, and they don't need that. They don't have none of this. So it just makes you think about how everything's connected together. That's the point I was getting with that. Even trees and stuff. You know what I mean? They've been here hundreds of years. Trees are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and even thousands of years, probably some trees, and they're just here doing their thing. You know what I mean? And what was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, about yeah, the time travel. Yeah, what do you think about time? Do you like time travel movies? Like, what do you think
All
of that?
right.
Do you think it's plausible, or is it just something people make up? Or do you have a theory? Can like someone make a machine and go backwards or forwards in time? Do you think?
I don't think so.
Nah, never, ever.
I
Yeah,
don't think you can make a machine that'll take you back in time.
nah. What about to the future? Because you know, say where if you go so
It might
fast.
be true. I don't know.
What
I
about
don't know if I believe it or not.
what about if you go fast, like how they say warp speed, right? If you go faster than or closer to the speed of light, when you come back, you'll be older, or it'll be older on Earth, but you'll be younger. There's
Speed of sound, maybe.
yeah, weird things like that. But yeah, I don't know about going back. I don't know about any of that, but maybe into the future. You know what I mean? Or like if you're on a rocket, right, and you go to another planet, you're going to be going there thousands of miles per hour. But by the time you get there, you're going to be a different age. So there's things like that. But oh, so how about I'm going to talk about that more on some podcasts. I'm going to get really deep into it because I've been studying quantum physics and this other. I got some. It's weird to think about it, you know what I mean? But scientists right now actually can beam. They can beam particles and information now. But they can only do it from when they turn on this machine. I don't know if they turned it on or not, but they got a machine, right? And it has to do with satellites and sending information up, and then it comes back down. But if a time machine's built, you can only travel back to the time it was turned on, because there has to be something there to receive it. You know what I mean? So you can't just build something and go back to anything. You have to have two doorways almost. You have to have one here and one there. So that's pretty neat to get the just around just trying to think about. But I don't know about our brains, like our human brains, right now. But they didn't have TVs years ago, and they didn't have all the stuff we got now, flying vehicles. So how would they explain all that? You know. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 6:34 p.m.
So we got 20. Okay, we got
Yeah, we got 20 minutes in.
we're 20 minutes in. So I have some questions. Maybe you can come up with. Have you thought of, or maybe you can think of something now, since I'm coming up on 2 years here blind. So maybe just off the top of your head. Uh, the other day, Greg asked me, uh, I could see in my dreams, or whatever. And then that brought an interesting point out, which I do want to talk to somebody. Again, write in the show or contact us. I would like to talk to somebody who's been blind since they were born. Because if you never saw anything, then what do you dream about, right? Or if you never saw a table, then how could you say, hey, I dreamt about a table? I'm just curious. It might sound stupid, right? But for instance, me, I've seen, I had sight up till the last 2 years. So when I remember, or when I dream, I can remember and I can still dream. So that's a neat question, right? If you're blind from birth, what do you dream about? Can you dream?
I would imagine so.
Well, what do you dream about if you never saw anything?
I don't know.
Now, how would you describe what you're seeing? That's complexing. And then what about, for instance, like I dream of stuff and you dream of stuff, but what about the stuff we dream of that we never saw? Where does that come from? You know what I mean? So dreams are just crazy. But yeah, do you have any questions off the top of your head about blind? Like since I've been blind 2 years, just something you want to just ask for you or for anybody that want to know what it's like to be blind now. That's different. Like I don't know anything that you might think
Not
of.
off the top of my head.
No, okay. Well, think about this stuff and then maybe next time, because I'm gonna do a couple episodes on just being blind and how things are changing. Well, just think about if you lost your sight. You know what I mean? What would you want to know, right? Because there's no book on this, I don't think, and then there's no book on getting old. What happens to you? Because I joke about that a lot. About you're a little bit older than me, right? So what happens when you get to be 40 or older? You got to pee a lot more. That's happened to me, right? You're in pain a lot more if you get hurt. It hurts more days, right? Or you get sick. You get sick longer. That happens when you get older, right? But they don't tell you
I
though.
guess.
They don't tell
I
you
don't
that.
want to think about it.
Yeah, but it has, right? Because you're a little bit older than me, so you realize it. But they don't teach you that in school or when you're growing up. They don't give you a book and say, when you hit 40 and you're a male, you're going to have to pee 10 times a day. Your prostate gets bigger or whatever. Just your body's going to react different ways. You can't eat certain foods anymore, right? It's terrible. Same with being blind. Nobody told me that. You know what I mean? Oh, you might be blind one day. I had no clue with all the stuff I was dealing with. And they come to find 7 things wrong with my eyes. On top of,
Holy jeez, dude.
at the end, yeah, 13 different doctors and the 7 things wrong. And
13 different doctors.
yes, over 2 years.
Wow.
I kept going to doctors, man, over and over. And they just finally said that I had glaucoma, cataract, retinal vein occlusion, macular edema, uh, iritis, which I had since I was a child. That basically means the sun or any kind of light is bad for you. It burns your eyes and destroys your eyes, dries them out. I can't cry. My eyes hurt. They burn, but I can't see anymore either. And so I got all these things. And then I was farsighted too, and just I had so many things. There's like 7 different things. So, but you know what? Hey, like I said, I found God after that. I hit my lowest moment, and then but I'm good. And every day after that, I'm gonna help people the best I can, and I gotta help myself too, though. You know what I mean? But we're not here for ourselves. We're here for everybody else, and people need to realize that. You know, that's what love is a choice, and so is the hate. Like I said, that came to me one day, and that's true. You have the choice of what you do. You control yourself. If you can't control yourself, then you might need to do something. So you control you, how you react, and how you feel. And if somebody hurts you, they don't feel that. So you have to turn that around and change that energy and put it right back out with love. And just take it a different way. Or otherwise you pile that on you every day, negative stuff, and then you're just done. And that happens to people. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. And that's why I'm here to help. I got the podcast, and we got you here to talk, and some other people. And anybody who wants to come on, will come on. Maybe next
Yeah,
time.
anybody wants to join the podcast, let us know.
Yeah, join the family here, the podcast family. And maybe next time we'll talk about them comic stories, right? The Halloween and that we started writing. We'll come up with some more to put into that. and whatnot. So yeah, we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel. Remember that from the old Batman show?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I do.
be the light, everyone.
Yeah, be the light, everyone. Take it easy.
And love is a choice, and so is the hate, right?
Exactly.